Jai Mohanji. My name is Lakshmi. I'll be starting the reading of Sai Satcharitra, chapter 7. The Wonderful Incarnation. Sai Baba knew every yogic practice possible. He was well versed in the six processes, which include dhauti, stomach cleaning by a moistened piece of linen, 3 inch in breadth, 22.5 inch in length, khanda yoga, separating his limbs and joining them again, and samadhi. If you thought that he was a Hindu, he looked like a Muslim. If you thought he looked like a Muslim, he appeared to be a pious Hindu. No one really knew whether he was a Hindu or a Muslim. He celebrated the festival of Ramanavami with all due formalities and at the same time permitted the sandal procession of the Muslims. He encouraged wrestling bouts in this festival and gave good prizes to winners. When it was time for Gokulashtami, he got the Gopal Kala ceremony duly performed, and during the Eid festival, he was allowed Muslims to say their prayers in his masjid. Once during the Muharram festival, a few Muslims proposed constructing a tajia, a tabut in a masjid, keeping it there for a few days and afterwards taking it to the procession through the village. Sai Baba allowed keeping the tabut for 4 days and on the fifth day had it removed without the least compulsion. If we were to say that he was a Muslim, his ears be pierced according to the Hindu custom at that time. If you think he was a Hindu who advocated the practice of a circumcision, though according to Mr. Nana Sahib Chandorkar, who closely observed him, Baba was not circumcised. If you call him Hindu, he always lived in the masjid. If Muslim, he always had the duni sacred fire burning there. He also allowed the following things which is contrary to the Muslim religion: blowing of the conch, ringing of the bells, oblation to the fire, bhajan, and worship of Baba's feet with water. If you think that he was a Muslim, the best of the Brahmins, forgetting their orthodox ways, he fell prostrate at his feet. Those who went to find out about his origins were dumbfounded and were captured by his darshana. Thus, no one could discern whether Sai Baba was a Hindu or a Muslim. This is not surprising, for he who completely surrenders himself to the Lord and gets rid of his egoism and body consciousness thus becomes one with him. Therefore, he has nothing to do with any question of religion. Sai Baba was such a being and saw no difference between religions and between beings. He ate meat and fish with fakis, but did not grumble when dogs tried to eat from his dish. Sai Baba was such a unique and wonderful incarnation. On account of the merits of in my past birth, I had a good fortune to sit and enjoy to sit at his feet and enjoy his divine company. The joy and delight I derived from therefrom was incomparable. In fact, Sai Baba was pure divine bliss and consciousness. I cannot sufficiently describe his greatness and uniqueness. He who took delight at Baba's feet was established in his own self. Many sannyasis, sadhakas, and all sorts of men aspiring for salvation came to Sai Baba. He always walked, talked, laughed, and with them, and always said the words Allah Malik. God is a sole owner. He never liked discussions or arguments. He was always calm and controlled, though irritable at times. He always preached the Vedanta, and nobody knew till the end who Baba was. Princesses and poor people were treated alike by him. He knew everyone's deepest secret, and when he gave expression to them, everyone was surprised. He was a repository of all knowledge, and yet he feigned ignorance. He also disliked honor. Such were the characteristics of Sai Baba. Though he had a human body, his needs testified to his divine nature. Everyone considered him to be Lord God in Shirdi. Sai Baba's behavior, the fool that I am, I cannot describe Baba's miracles. He almost got all temples in Shirdi repaired. Through Tatya Patal, the temples of Shani Ganapati, Shankar Parvati, the village deity and Maruti were put in order. His charity was also remarkable. He used the money he used to collect as dakshina was freely distributed 20 rupees to some, 15 or even 50 to others every day. People were immensely benefited by receiving Baba's darshana. Some became hale and hearty. Wicked people were turned into good ones. Leprosy was cured in some cases, while some blind men got back their sight without any drops of medicine being put in their eyes, and lame ones were able to walk. Nobody could see the end of his extraordinary greatness. His fame spread far and wide, and pilgrims from everywhere flocked to Shirdi. Baba sat near the dhuni and always meditated. He used to tie a white turban on his head and wore clean dhota around his waist and a shirt on his body. This was his dress in the beginning. He started practicing medicine in the village, examined patients, and gave medicines. He was successful and became famous as a doctor. A curious case is narrated here. A devotee's eyeballs were very red and swollen. No doctor was available in Shirdi, and thus the other devotees took him to Baba. Other doctors would have used ointments, cow's milk, and camphorated drugs. In such cases, Baba's remedy was quite unique. He pounded some biba, carpus anacardium, marking nuts, and made two balls of them, thrust them in each eye of the patient, and wrapped a cloth bandage round the eyes. Next day, the bandage was removed, and the water was poured over them in the stream. The inflammation had subsided, and the pupils had become white and clear. Though the eyes are very delicate, the biba caused no smarting, but removed the disease of the eyes. Many such cases were cured, and this is only an instance in the point. Baba's yogic practices. Baba knew all processes and practices of yoga. We will attempt to describe two of these processes. Dhauti, cleaning process. Baba went to a well near a banyan tree, which was considered considerable distance from the masjid, every third day and washed his mouth and had a bath. On one occasion, he was seen vomiting out his intestines, cleaning them and placing them on a tree to dry. There are persons in Shirdi who have actually seen this and have testified to this fact. Ordinary dhauti is done by using a moistened piece of linen 3 inches broad and 22.5 feet long. This piece is ingested and allowed to remain in the stomach for about half an hour and is then taken out. But Baba's dhauti was quite unique and extraordinary. Khanda Yoga. In this practice, Baba extracted various limbs from his body and left them separately at different places in the masjid. Once a gentleman went to the masjid and saw Baba's limbs lying separately at different places. He was terrified and he first thought of running to the village officers and informing them of Baba being hacked into pieces and murdered. He thought that he would be held responsible as he was the first informant and thus knew something of the affair, so he kept silent. But the next day when he went to masjid, he was surprised to see Baba hale and hearty and sound. He thought that what he had seen the previous day was only a dream. Baba practiced yoga from a very early age, but nobody knew the proficiency he had attained. He charged no fees for his cures, became renowned and famous by virtue of his merits, and gave health to many a poor and suffering person. This famous doctor of doctors did not care for his own interests, but always worked for the good and welfare of others, sometimes suffering unbearable and terrible pain in the process. One such instance is given below, and it will show the all-pervasive and extremely merciful character of Baba. Baba's all-pervasiveness and mercy. In the year 1910, Baba was sitting near the Duni on Diwali day and warming himself. He was pushing the firewood into the Duni, which was burning brightly. A little later, instead of pushing the logs into the wood, Baba pushed his arm into the Duni. The arm was burnt immediately. This was noticed by the servant Madhava and also by Madhav Rao Deshpande Shama. They at once ran to Baba and Madhav Rao clasped Baba by his waist from behind and dragged him forcefully backwards and asked, Deva, why did you do this? Then Baba came to his senses and replied, the wife of a blacksmith at some distance was working the bellows of a furnace. When the husband called her, she forgot that she had child on her lap and she ran hastily and the child slipped into the furnace. I immediately thrust my hand into the furnace and saved the child. I do not mind my arm being burned, but I am glad the life of the child was saved. The leper devotee service. On hearing the news of Baba's hand being burned, Mr. Nana Sahib Chandorkar, accompanied by the famous Dr. Paramanand of Bombay, with his medical kit consisting of ointments, lint, and bandage, rushed to Shirdi. Nana Sahib requested Baba to allow Dr. Paramanand to examine the arm and dress the burn. Baba refused this treatment. Since then, the arm was dressed by leper devotee Bagoji Shinde. His treatment consisted of massaging the burnt part with ghee, clarified butter, and then placing a leaf over it and securely tying it with bandages. Mr. Nana Sahib Chandorkar asked Baba many times to unfasten the bandage and have the wound examined and dressed and treated by Dr. Paramanand so that it would heal quicker. Dr. Paramanand also made several similar requests, but Baba postponed, saying Allah was his doctor and that Allah did not allow his arm to be examined by Dr. Paramanand's medicines, were not exposed to the air in Shirdi, but had the good fortune of receiving Baba's darshana. Babuji was allowed to treat the hand daily for a few days. The arm healed and everyone was happy. We do not know whether any trace of pain remained. Every morning, Bagoji went through his program of loosening the bandages, massaging the arm with ghee, and tightly bandaging it again. This went on till Sai Baba's Mahasamadhi. Sai Baba, a perfect sage, did not really need this treatment, but out of love for his devotee, he allowed the Upasana service to go uninterrupted. When Baba left for the Lengi, Bagoji held an umbrella over him and accompanied him. Every morning, when Baba sat near the post close to the Duni, Bagoji was present and started his service. Bagoji was a sinner in past birth. He was suffering from leprosy. His fingers had shrunk and his body was full of pus and smelled badly. Though he seemed so unfortunate on the outside, he was really very lucky and happy for Baba's premier servant, for he was Baba's premier servant and thus got the benefit of his darshana. Master Kaparde's plague. I shall now relate another instance of Baba's wonderful Leelas. Mrs. Kaparde, the wife of Mr. Dada Sahib Kaparde of Ambaroti, was staying at Shirdi with her younger son. One day, the son got high fever, which further developed into bubonic plague. The mother was frightened and felt very uneasy. She thought of leaving Amroti and went to ask Baba for permission to leave in the evening. When Baba was near the Vada, now the Samadhi Mandir, she informed him in a trembling tone that her son was down with plague. Baba spoke kindly and softly to her, saying that the sky is beset with clouds, but it will melt and pass, and everything will be smooth and clear. Saying this, he lifted his kafni and waist and showed everyone present four fully developed lumps as big as eggs and added, "See how I have to suffer for my devotees. Their difficulties are mine." Seeing this unique and extraordinary miracle, people were convinced as to how saints suffer pains for their devotees. The mind of saints is softer than wax. They love their devotees without any idea of gain and regard them as true relatives. Going to Pandharpur and staying there. We shall close this chapter after relating a story illustrating how much Sai Baba loved his devotees and how he anticipated their wishes. Mr. Nana Sahib Chandorkar, a great devotee of Baba, was the Mamlatadar of Nandarpur in Kandesh. He was transferred to Pandharpur. His devotion to Sai Baba bore fruit as he got an order to go and stay in Pandharpur, which is regarded as Bhuvai, Bhuvai Kundha, which is heaven on earth. Nana Sahib had to report to work soon after he received the order, so he left immediately without even writing or informing anybody at Shirdi. He wanted to surprise Baba by visiting Shirdi. His pand- by visiting Shirdi, his Pandharpur, and to see and bow before his Vithoba Baba and then proceed. Nobody dreamt of Nana Sahib's departure for Shirdi, but Sai Baba knew all about this and as he was omniscient. As soon as Nana Sahib approached Neem Gaon, a few miles from Shirdi, there was a stall in the masjid at Shirdi. Sai Baba was sitting and talking to Mahalsa Pati, Appa Shinde, and Kashi Ram, and he suddenly said, "Let us all sing some bhajans. The door of the Pandharpur Maharaj are open. Let us sing merrily." Then they all sang. The theme of the song being, "I have to go to Pandharpur and I have to stay there, for it is the house of my Lord." Baba sang and the devotees followed him. A short while later, Nana Sahib arrived in Shirdi with his family, prostrated before Baba, and requested him to accompany them to Pandharpur and stay there with them. The devotees told Nana Sahib that Baba was already in a mood to go to Pandharpur, and thus this invitation was unnecessary. Hearing this, Nana Sahib was moved and fell at Baba's feet. And after receiving Baba's permission, with thee and blessings, Nana Sahib left for Pandharpur. There is no end to Baba's stories, but let me now stop here. I will reserve this for the next chapter. Other topics such as importance of human life, Baba living on alms, Bayaji's service, and a few other stories. Bow to Sri Sai, peace be to her. Thank you very much. Jai Mohanji, Jai Sai Ram.